Good evening, Free Enterprise community. Welcome to this week's Pink Puff League Restream Seed. My name is CS Radical, your knight in puffing armor. Join me in the booth is Warlink05. We have Dave hitting all the buttons and Neobari on the Restream Warlink. We're playing Final Fantasy XCOM tonight. What are we expecting here with the Enemy Unknown wacky flag set that we have running tonight?
It is simple. All the bosses overworld sprites are all sparkles instead of their normal sprite. And once they go into battle, all their battle sprites are hidden. So basically, we have no clue who we're fighting against until we figure out, one, what's their attack script, or two, how many targets we're facing.
It is going to be a interesting see tonight. You know, we're going to be making a lot of jokes about, things we cannot foresee tonight. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that our runners are going to want to see, but they're not going to be able to see them at all. Just going to be a lot of sparkles on the map. But with the 6 bosses that we do have, there are going to be a few that have some telltale signs. You know, it's going to be pretty hard to miss Water Hag. It's going to be pretty hard to miss Leviathan. Some of them, depending on how fast you get through them, might be a little bit difficult to find, but it's really just all the fun of seeing what you come across and which locations and how they react to it. Now, there are some extra flags to go with it. I mean, the Yang start that we see here, see Neki is on. We're going to be only getting Wildish for the chests, Witchburn for Wyvern, which could bring some very fun possibilities here. And then a very subtle one, but could be very interesting, the Warp Glitch, which if used might take people away from Seal Cave that, could always have a boss there.
Yes, and there's one additional flag that's been introduced. They've been the Pink Plus the past few weeks has been encountered with S Standard and S Wild. For this week, we're doing a little bit of S Pro. So any of their good items they're looking for, like Bucket Swans, Hourglasses, or Sirens, it's going to be hard to find in shops. So they either A, hopefully find them in chests, or B, either try to find an edge somewhere in the sea and sneak them off.
Yeah, there's going to be some interesting possibilities here, and we will see how this seed shakes out as we are rolling now. So with that Yang start, we are going to be running with a Palom, not terrible, and we're going to be seeing, somebody in the Bygone spot with a Darkness Crystal. So that opens up a lot of boss locations. I don't think you're going to be checking that anytime soon. Yeah. But at least it's nice to know you got 6 more already available to you.
Yes, and with this week, our key items are only in cave locations. So basically, if you're going up to the moon, you're just face checking the bosses. But with Unknown, that's really hard to figure out. If you're just going to blitz right now and try to see what's up the moon, you might get obliterated from the start. But it's a shop and a character check from that Darkness Crystal.
And it definitely is going to bring some interesting decision making for our runners that are running both on stream and outside of the stream, because now that you have this in front of you, how early do you check? Because you never know if that just one last boss you're looking for, if you're already sitting at 4 of 5, maybe it's 3 of 5 and there might be 2 up there. Whoever checks it sooner might be the one that gets things to pay off here. So we'll see how that shakes out down the line, but that is probably a 30 minutes from now problem.
And we had to introduce our 2 Restream runners, Heart Gamer 26 on your left and Soapbox Gamer on your right. We see on the left, Edward gives you the Party Rock, so that's a good chance to look at the treasury right there. And to our right on Soapbox Gamer, in the Watery Pass, we find a duplicate Palom there to pick up.
And thankfully, no dupes are not on, so you're just going to enjoy technically twins. But in the meantime, how's this treasury looking? Good start. Stardust Rod's kind of nice. Ninja shirt, power shirt, another ninja shirt. There's some money. Ribbon and a glass helmet. Honestly, some decent equipment early on.
Yeah, and that Dragoon Spear is really good if you find the cane. As we mentioned earlier, we have the C Neki flag on, meaning all of our characters are only going to have wearing a tier 1 through 3 weapon, and that's it. So if you find that edge, instead of the usual 2 short swords and the Buck Gi, he might be just wielding a Fire Claw, and it's really, really hard to get him up to speed.
And given what we've seen here, a power shirt that's going to be helpful for anybody that you're using for DPS down the line. Ribbon is a great, headpiece there for any mage or somebody that you're just trying to make sure doesn't get hit with any status effects. And even the glass helmet, which by the way, they're on Soapbox Gamer side, speaking of that edge, but even the glass helmet, very, very underrated for this early game. So if you want somebody in the front row and you don't have to worry too much about their defense because, they're not really wearing much else at this point.
As we see the edge, we also found our food over there, so that's another good, powerful mage right there. But with Sineki, instead of food having in-game gear, all that stuff, he's probably at worst might be wielding a bow and arrow, all that stuff. So he's still good, but he's not have the power equipment to power things through.
Yeah, I mean, at this time, you have a Stardust Rod and you have a glass helmet. So you have something for a mage that you want to keep alive and be able to do some good black magic. So that's a nice setup there. You have the power shirt if you want to put that on Edge, or if you want to put it on the Yang and keep Edge with a ninja shirt, there's always that possibility too. So honestly, with the Earth Crystal coming out of Edward here, that's actually a really nice chain. It gives you some nice early applicability for your party members here, and even seeing a black belt as well in Soapbox Gamer. Not sure where that came from. I didn't catch it, but still, like, decent set of armor early on here.
And also, with one of our kits is the meme kit, which contains a ninja sword and a drain spear. If you're able to pick up the early edge, you got that drain spear to dart off the bat on any character bosses in your encounter.
Yeah, very generous start with this seed, so we'll see how that shakes out going forward as we get our first boss peek, as we see Teled Mount Hobbs. That's not the more important part. The important question is, what's here? And the answer is, hey, that's something we want.
Hey, we found Anna. So who is this boss?
I don't know, but whoever it is, we need to fight. And believe in ourselves and be strong.
Also, in Heart Gamer side, over at Miss Cave, we found Cindy just yells something out, and Heart Gamer is like, "Nope, you're not the boss I'm looking for," and just reset out.
Yeah, even though it's in a very early spot where it's not too rough, it's still just a painful boss that just is going to take way too much time here. And unless you're really intent on leveling up this foo, it's not exactly in your necessary I need to do this phase. You're good to skip this for a bit.
Yeah, it's doable, but as soon as Hart finds that foo in Mystidia, he will probably go back and pick off that Mega Sisters. If
another ribbon on Hobbs. 2 ribbons already. Again, the beginning of this seed being very generous. It makes you wonder when the luck is going to start to run out. At some point, I mean, unless you just stop loot gobbling and then it doesn't matter anymore. But if the chests keep running out like this, we're going to have some pretty nice characters coming into the later parts of this game.
Yeah, as pro, you can't even use the shops to really help out to fill out some of the gaps of your gear, but able to pick up this good gear really early has helped to with the early game and get to the point of to put in your mind, which characters that I may come across, I may add to the party.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be balancing out so far. The chests are being very nice and the shops are not going to be helping much at all. So it seems to be working out nicely in that format. So now we see Soapbox now heading into Antlion Cave. We see Hart going to Mystidia, which I don't think Soap did. So we have a second foo now.
So Hart has the foo, but not the edge. So that's the only difference between these two runners. And over Soap, let's figure out who's this boss hiding down in the Antlion.
And as it is right now, it is a boss. That much we can confirm. Based on the position of the arrow there, I'm pretty sure we're looking at a single boss here. Just a matter of which one now. Oh,
that swing of that sword, if you know your regular attack, that is karate.
Clearly very upset with being dumped early on in the seed by Soapbox. trying to get revenge. Picked the wrong place to do it, though, and is easily disposed of, with a rat tail being the prize.
And we see that Leg is hiding in the waterfall, so and Heart might get cast the Fire One. If you know your reaction scripts, if you cast Fire One on Ruby, Ruby casts life in the party. So it's one of those edge cases of if you're facing Ruby in a root spot and you don't have life pushes, you can cast fire on Ruby and life up your whole party.
I think we definitely need to apologize to Rubicon on that one, because I'm pretty sure we interrupted Ruby's shower based on the fact that a leg just came out of nowhere on us. But it looks like Heart is going to be following up now, raising the big whale just because you have to in Mysidia, but we'll probably be picking up that edge along with the other foo. We'll see if that second foo stays now. While Soapbox is doing the checks that Heart has already completed, so we see the Ruby at Waterfall. Likely we'll go check that Maga Sisters at Mist Cave and probably ignore that as well.
So by the looks of the checks we made so far, the only checks we have left is Fabul Defense, Ordeals, and the Barren End. So out of those three checks, which one you want to do first?
Well, as a devout Don't Fade Fabuler, I'm a little impartial here, but I mean, Ordeals is 3 bosses.
It's 3 bosses, and that's 9 spells for your food. So that's a really good way to quickly power up that food to have, luckily to get that virus or quake soon. So you can use those 2 to quickly determine how many targets there are on the screen.
I mean, usually, depending on how the seed runs, especially if they come across a Cecil either in the inn or Ordeals, because obviously free characters are on, I usually will wait for Fabul to see if I find a Cecil, because Fabul's XP is actually really nice for getting that level 1 Cecil up to usually around 15 if you get a boss that doesn't have a lower version of XP. So if this was me in this spot, I'd probably peek the Baron in just to see who's there first, and then maybe look at Ordeals based on my equipment, which is not terrible, so it probably would be something I'd consider. But I mean, you could just kill 2 birds with 1 stone and just do both the inn and Ordeals at this point.
Yeah, and if you have a food that has at least like a level 2 elemental spell, you can try attempt Baron first to see if you can get through it, or if not, Ordeals is just over there, and hopefully not a boss that will over there will absorb that elemental spell and punish you by a counter script.
For sure. It is always the question that you take when you have foos in your parties. Do you take some of these harder bosses early, or do you wait until you have, at least a tier 2 spell of some sort? And if you really get lucky, if you get a couple more fights, and you could even get something even more powerful like a virus that could really make those fights even quicker.
Now, Soap picked up his Earth Crystal, probably going over to the treasury, pick up all of those goodies over in the treasury, and Heart is going to come up to Hobbs, see the Tella, probably not put in the party for right now, and we'll find out that Waterhead is residing up here.
Yeah, so we're seeing a bit of crossover now, as by the time that both of these runners finish what they're doing currently, it's going to be back to square one. So we'll see where each of our runners go and see if there's any discrepancies, see if somebody takes a different path here, and if that maybe pays off. Although it's so early in the race that you might still see them cross paths again. So
yeah, it's just basically keep crossing until we find our underground access, and then it's basically their hosts. The host is their oyster to find the remaining of the bosses.
Yeah, at this point, you're more or less just trying to get any sort of decent equipment for your party members here. You're trying to find, at least a decent bit of spells for this foo now. Maybe get your Palom up a little bit more so you have some better spells too. It really is just a matter of you're trying to get yourself in a good scenario so that when it is time for the more tougher bosses that you're ready. So really, you're just doing any boss you can get now that either gives you direction to somewhere else that you can get some more items with. Like if you get Baron, that's a lot of extra treasure chests you could find some nice loot in. Or you want to get some more bosses in to get that foo up and hopefully get some better spells. Because, a Stardust Rod is going to come in real handy if you can get an early Virus, even an early Quake, maybe. So at this point, we're just going to get a bunch of optimization here as everybody gets prepared here. Forgot that Heart had not quite gotten to Antlion yet, so the Rat Tail is not there yet. So, and doing a little bit more looting as well, so maybe a couple extra items might go a long way here. We'll see. Soapbox is about to make their journey. We will see which location they decide to pop into first.
Yeah, it looks like Soapbox is like, wait, where do I go next? And it looks like he's going to Baron, probably look at the Baron and possibly see what's there.
And also it is a couple more item checks, so if you get really lucky, it comes in handy here. So far, nothing too special. I mean, a Drain Sword is a nice little throw there. There's a cane for that Dragoon Spear, so that's not too bad. Ninja has not too bad a find either.
And that Dwarf Axe to backroll glitch that edge if we're going to take him.
Yep, absolutely. Ooh, and Exits. That's a nice little find too.
Yeah, with no... I'm checking like no... Exits are good, but we have a Tele on Soap side and on Heart. With that 2 foos, Exits might be closest to the beginning of the tier spell list, but it could be a while to get that Exits. But getting at least 1, maybe 2 until the food gets the exit is a good play right here. But with Soapbox with that Tele, he's already got his exits all taken care of.
Yeah, if Heart checks the Baron shop later on, that'll definitely come in handy with not taking that Tele. So now we get to see the Baron in, boss number 1. Usually pretty easy, but we'll see what pops in here first. And it is something that is more than one of, so that starts narrowing things down a little bit here.
It punches, no reaction script, so that narrows down a little bit. We know it's not the Paladin because it doesn't counter with the slows, so that's our bosses.
I think it's Dark Imps.
Yeah, it must be Dimps.
Just based on the cursor size as we saw there, because one probably already went down. Yeah, this has got to be Dark Imps for sure.
There's our exit on that food, so at... What's the HP? 900, so 4 bosses. And this looks like CPU.
Which, not great.
Yeah, it's... that's...
Yeah, that's a bit of a painful spot here.
Yeah, with all mages and Edge.
Yeah, Edge with, I think, a Thunderclaw?
Thunderclaw, and I think I saw an Assassin Dagger somewhere, so...
Sorry. That's really going to make a huge dent in that CPU. Well, at least the HP isn't too high, but this is going to be a bit of a slower one. Unless we're just going to... Yeah, no, we're just going to throw stuff away. We are not waiting for this one to be done.
Yeah, that starting Drain Spear we have in the opening kit. This is the boss. I'm going to chuck it at the big orb because shooting through this with pure mages and the edge. Yeah, no.
Engine Dave having it pretty well right in here. How many darts we got? That is the only question that matters in this fight right now.
Yeah, I saw a Drain Sword, a Drain Spear, and a Drain Gloom Lance, and I'm assuming you gotta keep that Drain Gloom Lance for that edge, for that cane if you want to add him to the party.
Yeah, at least thankfully you don't got to worry too much about your party going down here because no XP is coming out of this fight, so it does not matter. So we now have a cane, likely going to see that Tele taken out unless Tele is going to be an anchor. There's our underground access with the Magma Key as well. Nice find there.
Yes, it is. So now here's the question of, do you continue fading both Fabul and Ordeals and just go underground, just see the favor of freebies, see what the boss is down there, do Dwarf, just see what's there? There's a lot more options to open up. Yeah,
there's definitely going to be an opportunity here for a little more branching off here. Now, You probably consider the idea of ordeals because still it's Fu getting more spells. It is 3 bosses. It's probably a good idea, but then again, you're still looking at getting more key items in your collection here. And it looks like that's what Soapbox is thinking too, adding some more to the collection, giving yourself some more options.
That opens up the gated shops, which it's not that much. Gated shops has tier 1 to 5 items, so not that much. But if you, with that edge, you can find more stuff to dart if you want to go that route, but not really something useful to use. So it might be useful just to see what else is down there.
Yeah, certainly at this point, you're making this call for a lot of information. That is a big part of it here. Because again, you could just continue on the boss hunting, but with the underground opening up a lot more opportunities for you, you can check a couple of shops. Maybe you find something that's pretty interesting that you might consider down the road. Also, there's still a lot of free chests you can open up in the Feymarch as well. So you got some nice potential here for some gear, especially with this edge still pretty desperate for a weapon right now.
Yeah, with Feymarch with the only 1 trap chest up to the Feymarch, the pathways to the Feymarch, and the chest down in the Feymarch itself. So that's like checks right there for potential good gear for Edge to help him be up to par to his damage output. And if you're the Feymarch, knowing that this is Kane main only, so the summon spots won't have the key items. But if you're down there, you're willing to take the time to see try to figure out who are the 2 bosses down there. If those 2 aren't the bosses we're looking for, we don't have to come back here ever again.
Exactly. So again, a lot of information is going to get pumped in here, and we will see what that comes up with. Not bothering with the chests in the cave, at least. Might take a few of the ones in the Feymarch. We don't got to worry about the traps here. Looks like Hart is going to make the call and go up to the Tower of Zot. So there's our first real deviation now. So we are going to start seeing some branching paths here on stream, which always exciting. And yeah, we are definitely opening chests in the Feymarch. Heron Robe, depending on if you find equipment, could be nice down the line. And a pan in the Feymarch. That is a very nice pickup.
Yeah, fans of the single dip Favul has their dreams came true for this seed if you went that route.
I'm very disappointed. Magma Key and Pan not at Fabul. Very sad. Very sad. Now at this point, my only hope is that a package is at Fabul with a boss we need. That's all I can hope for at this point. Let's put it this way, let's put an Edward right there as a character which most runners are going to reset out of there, and they require bosses right there. I mean, don't tempt me with a good time. And yeah, again, with all the equipment that we've picked up so far, with Wildish being pretty generous in the early going here, that Cane is actually pretty nicely equipped. Now, obviously, we are just face-checking these bosses. Pretty unlikely that you're going to be fighting anything in here. You just want to know if potentially you're going to have a fight down the line you got to come back for. And I think I speak for most people here when I don't want to see 3 cursors on either of these 2 bosses right now. Okay, that's a twofer.
That's dealers.
And I am okay with leaving that one alone.
Yeah, they already did the punches, and now the next one is going to be casting 2 flames. And on Heart's side, I'm
trying to think if it's a single boss this close up. What boss would be this close?
It could be Mom Bomb. That's one of the.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Mom Bomb. It could be Demas. It could be Odin.
Now we see the Queen spot here. Still 5 bosses on the board we're looking for. And we got a single boss on this one. I'd say, and it hits hard, but it's in the Queen spot, so of course it is. Ooh!
Guess who's that, boss chat?
Well, I guess we're coming back.
Well, that's information. That's all the information I will take. It's like, okay, one of our bosses right here. I'll come back when I'm a little bit powerful.
Yeah, I guess we've decided what our last boss is going to be located at, depending on how the rest of the seed shakes out. Ooh, a nice full moon there.
And we see briefly on Heart's side that Mom briefly transformed. We briefly saw the sprite shows up. So this is Mom at least that one spot.
So if my calculations are correct, I might have missed one, I think. But I think we've gotten, I believe, 9 we've checked out now, so... We're basically a quarter of the way through here. We're getting there.
9 bosses and we found 2, so not bad.
Not too shabby. Although again, this Mom Bomb at Zot. I mean, thankfully it's just about over now that we're down to just the regular bombs, but this fight, depending on the location, is no joke. A lot of people think that this fight in some locations is more annoying just based on time, but in the wrong spot, this place is still kind of scary.
Yeah, and especially you don't know if it's Mom Bomb until you see the sprite getting larger. It's like, oh, it's Mom Bomb, and just be like, this is going to be a little bit longer than expected. And if you don't have a good AoE spell like Virus or Quick to take out small bombs, you're going to be here for a while.
Yeah, even the little bombs there was a pain. And of course, after all that, the XP sucks. So that's the other great thing. It wastes your time, and you also don't get much for it usually, which is always so great.
And Silkbox is going down to Silk Cave, whack the pan on Yang. We'll get a item. We know this is not key item since this is a summons check.
Would be a great time for a nice weapon to drop, though. Or a third ribbon, whatever. No, it's all good.
Okay, well, fine. We don't need. Fine with ribbons. Fine. If we run across Gobaz, we're fine with that.
Fine, you've convinced me. You know, I'm gonna have now literally more than half of my party members free of status ailments. Fine, okay, you're pulling my arm here.
And we see Edward in the first spot, and we have some sort of sparkle. We don't know what's down in Dwarf 2. And in the second spot, we have. You like one Edward, how about 2 Edwards?
All right, Oscar, I see you in chat. What did you do to this seed? But we have no spoon, so unfortunately you have 2 Edwards that can go. Shoo. Get out.
Oh, and Edward has that dancing dagger, so that might be a slightly better weapon for our edge.
But at this time, the weapon is not the most important question, it's the boss. So what are we looking at in the Val spot?
And also defending Fabul.
Oh, well, I guess that gives it away.
yeah, I don't know, Chad, who's that boss? I think it has many faces or something like that.
And I think we don't have walls, so we're just hoping that we can take down the Sasura fast enough. I mean, Ice 3 is going to do a pretty good job. I think we're probably okay. As long as there's no other heal after the second Ice 3, even the virus might be enough here. Okay, as long as we don't heal this... Oh, there's another virus. Jeez, we're just casting by the minute here. But still kicking.
Yeah, and over for Pool, I didn't able to figure out what the boss is over there, so it's not all required bosses. So
it's dead. That's our answer.
Yep, it's not all required bosses, so we just leave it alone.
So unfortunately for Heart, that did not come in handy, but if the key item ends up shaking out to be something interesting, you still take it. Although, this would be a really bad time to come across a hook and take you in a different direction.
And for soapbox, we pull for the Shio checks, it's the Legend Sword and the Sand Rubies. So that's a character check, and the great thing is that opens Coco does the forge, and the good thing is that opens up the shop, which hopefully gives us a tier 6 items from the 6 to 7. Hopefully find something useful from that shop. If not, you're have to figure out how to do with levels, weapons, or anything else for the end.
Most importantly, we're burying the lead here. Tower of Zod did come in handy. It came with a package. I know that's not actually coming in handy for most people, but it's a package. Also, hi, Cecil. I guess that Coco Forge is going to come in handy now too, won't it? Oh, but we're thinking about it.
Double check. Yep, and I don't see anything about Super Smith, so yeah.
It's vanilla. That's an X-Cal.
Yeah, and do that ordeals, and you have that par shirt on that edge. Do you swap it up? I think I saw a Zeus Scotland also, so basically you got a really good Cecil right there after you do ordeals.
You've got a pretty nice front row now with Edge, Kane, and Cecil. That's a pretty nice setup, and you have Fu. You have, I believe, Palom is still the other mage on Soap's side.
Yeah, it's just Palom. So Fu is going to be your white mage if you want to do that route.
Very nice setup now, as we start to see here. Although, Heart's just having a lot of fun with Fu and friends currently. I mean, that Edge could do some damage, but we haven't found anything for that Edge. I mean, the Cat Clawed Ordeal seems to be the best thing we've seen so far.
Yeah, Edge is really gets nerfed with the Tsuneki because he needs good gear to deal damage right there. So if you can't find any good gear for him, probably around the midway point, you probably have to ditch him for something else. But then again, Edge has other utilities to do with this S Pro setting.
All right, well, everybody welcome on Soapbox's side to Hidden Justice. Or could you say Justice is blind?
Just the wind just talks about justice and just talks about it and try to figure out who says that.
But that's another one off the list that we don't need.
And it's the boss is really, it's at the wrong location if you don't know where it is. If you start attacking it, then you have to go through another set of ways to get the speech text. So.
And much appreciated for Soap doing that safety save, because a back row invisible boss is a lot more dangerous than you think. Although I'm pretty sure that we're looking at the Kaiko guards here.
Yep, the Kafa officer and the 2 soldiers. So basically, this coffin the officer, or basically a flame take out the soldiers, and the officer will just retreat. So not bad Zot ordeals too.
Yeah, came very much in handy that Soapbox did a little bit of extra looting there on Hobbs, because A, you got the second ribbon, and then you got that one coffin, which definitely came in handy. So that makes this fight very free.
Now all we need is someone rude in the changing room that will just slow us down. It's like, do you really want to go through this just to have a paladin Cecil with the ice cow?
So Golbez.
Don't worry, we have ribbons. If Gauntlet's here, it's like great. Well, it's our grind.
Well, I didn't say it had to be bad. Like, the worst that can happen in this spot is being annoying, unless Wyvern has like a really, really rude opening attack with Witchburn on. But let's be honest, Golbez is the most irritating thing you could come across in here. Not because it's dangerous, just because it's wasting so much of your time. Ooh, and a Baron key. That's 3 more bosses right there.
And by the looks of it, we're just missing for the hook for 2 bosses, Twin for 1, Tower for 1, and Luca key for 1 to open up all locations for it.
Ooh, there's an objective.
Yes, enemies in a circle like that, that is dolls.
So technically, is this French vanilla because the battle scene is the same?
I'll say so, yes, but it's just one of those things of we just recycle assets.
It's a very loose French vanilla, okay? So that puts us as 2 objectives for Soap, technically 3 because we know where the Pale Dim is.
And and we haven't seen Hart went underground yet, so he's just doing ordeals to see just for the more boss to try to power up that food and pick up that Cecil.
Yeah, even though 1 objective behind doesn't necessarily mean actually behind because Soapbox could take the time going to Tower of Zod as well and take some of that time back. You think with now that Cecil in your party, though, you're going straight to Coco Forge, and then I'm not sure which between Baron or Zot that you take. I don't think it particularly matters between the 2 at this point.
With riding efficiency, probably do Zop first, just to do 2 bosses there, and it spits you right out of Baron. So
That is true.
but if you want to do riding efficiency, you do Zop first.
Oh, no, we're going to do a little Castle Eblin hunting first.
Yeah, this is too wildish, and probably Soap doesn't know that Forge will give Cecil the exhale, so
Either that, or maybe doesn't want to look at Forge and maybe checking here to see if he finds a shinier sword before even making that trip.
that, or also hopefully find maybe some Hanzo Steel for Edge to help him be a
That
little
as
bit more
well.
powerful.
And I mean, given the equipment you have here, you have some decent stuff that can get you through a lot of these fights. It's even decent XP to get Cecil up and running too.
Oh, and also if he finds the Mag Earth fight, he can sit there and steal some pocket swines off of those Mag Earths, so he can use some Zerg strats later down the line.
There is definitely a lot of applicability you can have in this one. And even getting a nice poison axe, so, you know, just a little stronger for that ogre fight. Another glass helmet, not too shabby. There's some Hanzo steel. But also there's an inventory boss. Ooh.
Yeah, when you reach the inventory boss, yeah, you have to at least ditch at least 8 items, so you don't have to encounter the same boss probably 30 seconds later.
And it's always extra painful because you're like, no, I need to sell these things. I want money. Let's ignore the fact that Espero's on and you probably won't be spending too much of that gil anyway, but hey, who doesn't like a lot of money?
Or if you're holding out that one weapon, it's like, I'm holding this weapon until they scare until a white mage show up, and then you're at go mode and you don't have a white mage. It's like, okay, I'll sell it for stuff.
Yeah, I mean, how many people in chat raise your hand if you've held equipment for literally an entire hour hoping to find a character and then you never do? Like, say, ninja swords. You know, holding Hanzo Steel, hoping for that edge, and then realizing, oh, he's not here.
Or that's me playing a Looters Anonymous seed. It's just basically all this good gear and dark matter and trying to figure out how to do stuff, and then an hour and a half later, it's like, okay, this is my party. I'm not going to see this character sell it, and then 2 minutes later, they show up. It's like, great. I'm not going to save scum back to get my equipment back.
And also, as we see on Soapbox's side, my secret, very secret thing that I like about the seed, even the traps are invisible.
Yeah, like I said, every encounter, all the enemy sprites are hidden. So right there, I think that's the 2 cats in the
Yeah, there should be the 2 black cats in the Lamia for sure.
Yeah, and with this, probably a proper grind D machine is a little bit much harder if you do the traditional manipulation, because you don't know what you're facing right there. Baron manip for D machine is useful, but unable to see the enemy, we don't know what's there.
I mean, depending on how early in the game you come into this spot, though, they suck. I've played a couple of these seeds, and you go here too soon. It's already bad enough that these enemies are pretty annoying. Also, geez, the amount of heroin and ninja shirts we've seen in this seed. But you come across some of these trap chests, especially in Castle Lab, when you're not quite ready and you're not sure which one it is. Reacting to them can really throw you off a little bit, because those black cats are no joke.
Yeah, and also the Mag Ogres punch it 3 times, and if you have all mages and no really good mage killing weapons, you're probably going to be in this battle for a while.
Yeah, you're a little pouty at that point. As we see Soap going through here, Hart now setting up with their new Paladin Cecil, taking a peek, maybe like looking at Baron now, which not a bad idea. A lot of chests you can open too for more equipment. You got a shop here you can open up, and 3 bosses. More importantly, 3 shiny bosses you're looking for. Ooh, nice cursed ring. Soapbox in the meanwhile having fun with the ogre trap. And I say having fun, Cecil's having a lot of fun. That axe does damage.
Yeah, toss the Argos on it, and wow, we have Xcal at home. So.
Who needs Vanilla Forge anymore?
Okay, but hear me out. What happens if we find a second Cecil?
Throw them in the trash. Unless you find more. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Hard to tell.
Or just basically assert dominance on that crystal sword and just pick up the X and use it anyway.
I mean, that's probably what you should do, although I'm sure there is a certain queen in the background screaming, throw it at the fat chocobo, but we're not doing that. No, that's getting use. Even worse than the inventory glitch, when the shop tells you, no, you need to throw stuff away.
Yeah, that's one of the things of, okay, let's check the shop, and Caper saying, no, you need to empty your bags, and you just don't want to empty your bags. It's just one of those things.
So you start seeing some Baron bosses here. Looks like a single boss at this point. Oh, hi.
Yeah, some sort of wet noodle of some sort.
We might need one of those.
We do. So now we're at 4 bosses. We up in the booth know where they're located.
So we technically knew already at the start that there was one, but we didn't know for 40 minutes. And now Soapbox is about to get the bad news that unless the package happens to be holding something, there's nothing else here. This is just a time sink. But you have a crystal sword. That time sink isn't going to take nearly as long now.
No, I forgot who's up there, but yeah, crystal sword, Cecil, this is just a cakewalk right there.
I'm trying to remember too what it was. I know Asura was the Val spot. I'm pretty sure. I think it was Dimps in the other one. It was Darkins.
No, Dimps is Baron 1.
Okay, maybe was it Karate then? Possibly.
Karate was.
Oh no, it was Mom Bomb, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was Mom Bomb.
Yeah.
They all sound good in my head right now. That's the other upside of it being invisible. Now I have to play the memory game.
Guess what? We found Bigan at a principal location spot.
So, all Hart has to do is go down to the Fey March, and you're technically in go mode.
Yeah, so right now we're we're in no mode right now since everyone here in the booth, we know where all of our objectives are. Now we just hope for our runners to find that path to those bosses.
And for Soapbox, that's going to make the move after Zod just that much sweeter because you're going to pair this right into Baron. So you assume that we are going to see those two bosses cleared off very quickly as well.
Yeah.
And hi, Mediocast.
Because why not?
I mean, it killed the boss, so I'd say that's why. As we're keeping an eye on the foos as well, they're almost done too, so you start raising the question too, if you go and check the Fate March after this, you still have 3 levels to max out that foo. Do you maybe take a couple of the free bosses that were still left here? Do you maybe, I'm trying to think, I don't think Hart finished the Maga Sisters or the Rubicon at Waterfall and Mist Cave. Do you take those bosses, or you just say, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to deal with 1700 HP the rest of the way now?
If I have quick, if Fu has quick right now, I'll take out the Mega Sisters for 1. Ruby, Fu with that Stardust Rod with Virus, that Ruby would be easy to take down real quick. So
it is 2 really quick bosses. It's just a matter of, do you want to spend the time?
Yeah, and this point of he doesn't know where the other 2 bosses are. We up at the booth know where they are, but it's one of those things of, do we know where to go next? And hopefully none of these Keans will sidetrack them somewhere else.
Well, the hook might. The hook might do it.
Well, let's put it this way. If Guards is down the hook route, that's probably a little bit more easier than dealing with Pildim at a shorter spot.
But we are obviously going to check the basement first, and that would be pretty amazing if our last 3 bosses were all in the same place. That would be amazing. And also really funny given that we had the Darkness Crystal right away and it was never going to get used.
Yeah, it's just one of those things of the moon's open, but right here right now it's shown as it's haunted right now.
Oh no, that's just the other noodle.
That's a no. I'm not dealing with you.
That is a thank you. I'm out.
I'm dealing with you next seed.
Bye-bye. And yeah, we're gonna dive the hook. Or we're at least gonna check Rat Tail, maybe. Maybe both.
Yeah, that's another K-Main check, so that may give us the Spoon, Pinktail, Lucky Key, Tower Key, Harp, the Pass.
But at the very least, checking out Fabul first. It is one of the easier ones to just quickly get that out of the way. Makes perfect sense here. And now we see Soap getting ready to presumably, going to Baron. So we are going to be seeing Go Mode shortly, at least in the sense of knowing that you need to get that Pale Dim done, although probably is going to require going to the tower first just to get some sirens, because you might want a bit of grind.
Yeah, or he could just gamble that Cloak of Forge might sell sirens right there just to buy there instead of find that trap chest and start stealing them right there.
I mean, Excal is a nice throw. It is a nice dart.
But that shop, it gives you a chance for that sirens to do the levels, the Bugus line to help out with that Pildim and the Saronis fight.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what our runners do. Now, Hart still has to go to the Fey March to see that, Go Mode exists. Soapbox is getting very close to being aware that Go Mode exists as well. So it really is going to depend on what our runners decide to do from here. because now we know that unless both of our runners take a very different route, which I don't see for at least on one of them, go mode is coming very quickly here. And it's going to be interesting to see how our runners decide to prepare for that Z fight now.
Yeah, look. Let's see. Looking at this HP on those on Soap's side, it's a little bit too soon. A seasoned runner can look at that as like this is like Food and Friends / 1200 strats to force Aromas, but right now, if Soap will get the news, he will be in Gomo as going through his mind. Okay, how am I going to deal with the PLM, and 2, how am I going to deal with this Aromas fight? How am I going to get these levels if he's going to go that route?
Absolutely. To answer Jayburn in chat, is Hart flying through this or what? Yes, Soapbox is very much right behind it though. Baron has 2 bosses and already knows that Pale Dim is at Feymarch, whereas Hart has not gone underground to discover this yet. So both of our runners are very close to go mode right now.
Yeah, Soapbox went down underground early as soon as he got that magma key. Checked the Feymarch freebie, checked the 2 bosses. One of them is not boss we're looking for. The other one was our Paladin, so that's the information. That trip down there was good information to figure out if we're going to come down there or not.
So yeah, Soap now sees the good news that you have now found your last boss that you need to look for. You just have a doot down in the queen spot waiting for you. Whereas Hart is about to make that trip underground, and assuming you go to Feymarch first, you're going to find out real quick what you're in store for.
Yeah, this is really bad for Hart because he has like so many options open to him to figure out what to do next. Like he would have gone to Dwarf Castle for 2 bosses and the 2 key items because with the warp glitch, that's like really quick checks right there. Tower is open because he has the tower key from the Rat Tail turn-in, and Feymarch is just the 1 key item in the 2 bosses. So basically, it's basically a 33% chance of which one of these locations to go first.
Yeah, I mean, you probably lean towards going to Feymarch just because it is a free key item and it is 2 face checks. And also, nice find there with 2 longswords. That'll help that edge a little bit more going forward. Although, Soapbox, after checking Evelyn Castle with that Murasame, is sitting really fat and happy with that. I mean, I also suppose a crystal sword on that Cecil is a little helpful too, but, you know, what do I know, right?
Yeah, crystal, longsword, Mura, and I don't know.
What did crystal sword do for anybody?
I don't know. It just magnetized me during that first part of the Magnus fight, so that's what it did to me.
Well, as we see, Soap is beelining for the Feymarch here, so it's going to be Paladin time, and yeah, it looks like Hart is going to take a deviation and go check Dwarf Castle first.
There's an interesting way to handle with this fight. We have this Cecil. We have a glass set. We can put Cecil in the back row. Have everyone down to critical HP. Put heal Cecil up, all that stuff. Have Cecil do cover strats. We have that Kane with that Dragoon lance, and have Fu cast the Berserk on Kane and basically go to town. And basically, Cecil covers Kane, the whole party, whenever Paladin attacks.
Yeah, I'd say you're actually in pretty decent shape given the equipment. I mean, granted, again, you have a backroad crystal sword. You're already in pretty decent shape anyways. But even with that Kane with a Dragoon Spear, you have some pretty nice options here to make this fight go as quick as possible. So at this point, assuming that this Paladin fight is going to be doable, it's just going to be a matter of Soap after that getting ready for Z fight. Now, it's not to say that Hart's in trouble. There's always the possibility that the guards are in one of these 2 spots at the Dwarf Castle as well. It's still very much on the table. That's still a boss we don't know where the location is.
Yes, and even though we have 6 boss objectives, the goal is the requirement for getting the crystal is 5. So that guards you mentioned is that saving grace to bail Hart out of doing this check instead of going to Famars to see that Pale Demon's sure spot.
And it wouldn't be a bad thing if this happens too, because, well, if a key item comes out of this check, because I don't believe we've seen a Zonk yet or not, two sirens just happen to be in the 2 pots there in the Dwarf Castle. So, you know, you happen to come out of here. There's your 10th key item as well. And if you happen to have the guards out of that, you're in go mode. And you already have a bit of a couple of eggs you can crack there. So not too bad following out if that works out.
Yeah, with Kane Main and pass as a key item, the only Zonk is the pass itself because it doesn't count as a key item for the 10 key items XP boost. So basically right here, Hart will get 10 key items out of this if he remembers to do the warp glitch after this, if the first part is the pass.
That is also true. If the pass happens to be in one of these 2 spots, that still might be an advantage for Hart if Hart can get through that Pale Dim fight quickly, because Soap is at this time going to have to walk the entire LST to get through.
And guess who's at Dwarf 1? A boss casting size. And who casts size?
Well, so not only is the moon haunted, this race got infinitely more interesting now.
This is the reason why I like XLY, because you have these 2 runners found their 5th boss, and it's at 2 different locations. They don't know where the other one's at. So basically, now this is a race of, okay, how do we get the levels and do some runs?
Well, you have 2 sirens now. You are about to find out if you have an easier way to get to Z fight. You also now have Nuke, which is fantastic. You have 10 key items. Also, we'll see if Hart even remembers the warp glitch. That'll be the other key here. But we now have 2 crystals. So we're now in that stage of figuring out what are we doing.
Oh, that's... Ooh.
Yeah, because you're going to be doing a grind. That makes a lot of sense.
If it's me...
Oh,
oh no! It's just even randomized. Oh man!
Oh no! We finally get vanilla, and at the worst time.
And I don't, unless that bounty character doesn't have ribbon. Oh, this is gonna be this is gonna be. Oh man, this is
Oh no!
Soapbox is just going get on the big whale, go straight to the moon. At this point, a good let's see, Soap is also at 10k items. A good viable way to get levels is do moon bosses. So basically, that's your grind right there. Especially the river room, that's 200k right there.
Yeah, and we're gonna check the shop right now because we might get lucky too. You never know what's in here.
And this is S Pro, so it's probably not.
Nope.
Ether 2s, it's alright, but
it's a nice to have. It's not what you're looking for.
And if Siprox knows that this is S Pro, if he went to Coco to open up that shop, that's some of the tier 6 and 7 items, which may contain the sirens, pocket swines, elixirs, Leviathan orb, just to laugh at your face.
And thankfully, Hart getting that Cecil back up just in time, so you're going to get that double XP on someone who really needs it. That's going to help a lot. Although, again, the equipment's going to be a little bit different here, because Hart doesn't have the Crystal Sword, nor even the Legend Sword to be able to even do the Forge, so... Alright, well, here's your chance, one more chance at that extra Cecil. No, it's just a yeetable character, unless you want an anchor at this point.
I think Soap is using Intel as the anchor, but you could use it as a double anchor right there. But yeah, this is going to go to the Tower of Wishes, so I'm not going to see it again.
Yeah, that Rydia was very quickly yeeted. And we do remember the warp glitch. And there is the pass. Oh boy.
Yeah, now we have a race here.
All right, everybody grab your popcorn. Well, okay, well, after the inventory boss, grab your popcorn. There we go.
Don't worry, we're going to counter the inventory boss one more time.
And a pink tail as well, but that pink tail is not going to do you much good unless you get really lucky with the catch, because adamant armor will not be here.
Yeah, it give you a white sword, maybe the axe scar crystal sword, but most likely it's going to give you the moon veil, and you're going to be disappointed with it.
But yeah, Hard in a very good position as well now. 2 sirens, so you got a couple eggs you can crack right now. And it looks like that's what we're beelining for. Get some XP. So now it's gonna be who. It's very possible that we're going to be seeing Z fights very close to each other. So it really is going to come down to the levels and the equipment. So Soapbox does have the advantage of the equipment right now. And looks like saving here. The question is, do you do any more leveling here?
By the looks of it, with prospect up to 1, I think he might do the ribbon.
Yep. That 200,000 might help. That might be enough to make this through. Just a matter of what's here. Oh, dialogue.
This is sad because this is another boss where XP gets split.
So not 200,000. Oops.
Well, we could get more gear from here, but for experience, no. This is you're not getting the full 200.
The plot continues to thicken here. So there's our 2 sirens now done. And now, are we beelining straight there? Do we maybe check the pink tail and see if at least it gives us anything? I think that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, with that pink tail, you're gambling on that crystal sword X Scout for Cecil. If not, something better, or maybe not.
Maybe just accidentally hit it. I haven't done that 100 times playing Seeds.
Yeah, it's not like I haven't done it today.
I mean, look, you frantically hit buttons, things happen. Oh,
Wow, now, yeah, okay.
all right. Neo rolled an absolute gem tonight. For our runners, it's nice to see the runners actually get a few bones thrown their way. Well, now this is definitely getting interesting. Yeah, that Cecil's in a little bit of a better position now. Just a little. I'm sure that Rune X was nice. It just doesn't have the same shininess. It just doesn't.
Hey, it's just fine.
Look, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. But a crystal sword, on the other hand, well, it might be kind of good.
Now, Heart is going through, actually putting gear on your characters right now, and probably sort everything, making sure we're getting everything all set up, and save and go into that Zeronis fight with this party.
Yeah, and they're so done with that ribbon fight, only getting 115,000 or so. A free dart, though, in the X-Cow, which is not too shabby.
Who needs to go forest for X-Cal? All you have to do is go through Dr. Lu and you get X-Cal there.
Yeah, you can see the gears turning a little bit, thinking, do I want to go with this? Well, setting the battle speed down to 3, so I think that's enough of a sign to say, yeah, we're going to go for it.
Yeah, with the look at the health. Looking at the health of it, yeah, this is about speed 3. You have two characters cast berserk if you need to. Yeah, this is a battle speed. You're making sure you don't miss a input or bubble around with frantically making sure you get the right spell casting off.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're gonna have very close to stereo Z fights going on here. So it really is gonna come down to optimization and equipment here. Heart's gonna have just a little bit of an edge here getting the pass route.
And it looks like we have Z flags in the chat. So what's that doesn't mean? I know it's a little bit. It's like 9 o'clock here. It's a little bit too early for sleepy time, right?
Well, I mean, you know, we're getting close to Christmas. I mean, you got to put the kids to bed at some point, right? But I mean, the twins already got kicked out of the party, so I'm not sure it applies here.
Right. Well, those Z flags mean something. Zeromus, he's the final boss of the Final Fantasy IV. For this randomizer, he's a little bit too big, a little bit too powerful. Can't move him around. Can't put him in the antline and get big bangs down there. So we just leave him there in this vanilla location. But instead of turn to its sprite, all that stuff, we decided to change up his sprite. And no, if you look at it here, yes, the Roman's right there. That's Invisimus, a Z sprite that was removed from the sprite pool like almost 2 years ago. But we just decided to change his sprite and all that stuff to over 525 some odd Z sprites. So we asked this one simple question. Z Braco, we asked the question.
Sure, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight? And is that butt cute and does it have a hat? Most importantly, does it have a hat? But yeah, we're looking at basically a 5-second gap right now. And I think that's a hat?
And I think I think it has a butt. Or butts.
I don't even know what that. I have no idea what this is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Chat, help. Help. Well, the nukes have already started to fall, and an edge goes down on one, and Rosa goes down on the other, and Soap with the reset. Already not happy with how that started.
Yeah.
There's our first big bang. We'll see the nerf. Nothing to worry about here. That's still some pretty nasty rolls, though.
Yeah, with Zeromus, if you nerf the Big Bang, the most it can deal damage to is 1200 HP. So it's not going to knock out everyone. Rosa was the one that has the tendency to be knocked out by. She took the counter nuke in the first place.
So yeah, it looks like Soap after that first nuke went, you know what, I think I need some more HP before I'm comfortable with this. Completely understandable as someone who loves to have at least 2,000 HP on at least somebody in this party. Yeah, I get it.
And it looks like that boss did a party-wide drain, and if my guess is right, that boss will cast a wall and toss nukes on itself. So this is our Wyvern.
Yeah, no, it's a little disappointing when it's not something more funny, but you know, drain's not bad. It's no retreat.
Oh, and also we have to mention, for this race, we have 6 racers besides 6 racers in this race, including these 2 being restreamed. And we already have our first place winner. eNinja 81 finished first place with a time of 58 minutes and 45 seconds. So give your GGs to eNinja.
Very well run race. Depending on how this goes, we might have our first stream finisher shortly here as Hart keeps chugging along here.
And that adventure, that will help speed up the fight.
That will definitely help a lot. That's going to make you feel a little bit better going in now.
Yeah, you put sets on the top slot, and when the crystal is thrown out, you do the swap with the Avenger, and Cecil will go to town.
And ooh, that is a rough big bang there on Heart's side. And Soap is going to continue to grind out, so looking at what's in front of him, thinking, I need HP, I need levels, I need more. More.
And the Big Bang comes out, and that's a restart on Heart's side.
Yeah, completely understandable on both to take the wipe there, and it looks like Heart's doing a similar idea and possibly thinking I need to do a little bit more grinding before this is going to be okay. And it's a common theme. It's something that I still battle with today, you know, as a veteran here in PPL. It's hard to figure out what's a good spot for taking on those Z fights. You know, you can do it at levels like that. Z sometimes has to be a little bit nice though, and when Z's not nice, it's not helpful.
Yeah, and with that S Pro, we took away that Bucket Swine to help doing the Berserk right away, and no Sirens to help out with the grind. So basically, you have to think some other way to deal with the Zeronos fight.
Yeah, the easiest thing at this point, at least for Heart being closer to the underground right now, would be to possibly go back into the tower and do some stealing of Sirens there. Looking to just check the Evelyn shop to see if there was anything interesting. Didn't come across anything there. Now maybe doing some checks here to see if they can find any more gear that might make this a little bit easier.
Just a Cluck Claw on the Crystal Sword Altar, so that's just for experience.
That seems like a fair outcome at the Crystal Sword Altar. Change out, you know, a shiny sword for a Cat Claw. That seems like a fair trade. So now with Soap, are you happy with this amount of HP? Do you maybe consider doing the Masamune altar as well? We shall see. We know we're going to see at least a safety save here, because if you're going down to Z fight, you might not want to have to grind, you know, a couple more bosses again all over, but you know.
It doesn't hurt to peek what's at the Masa altar. If it's a doable boss, you might take it. If not,
yeah, we still haven't seen a king and queen. You might get lucky with a freebie. And that'd be a nice free bit of extra HP at the end too, no less.
True.
Ooh, I didn't even notice the white spear that came out there. That's a nice little find.
Yeah, I think that came from a trap chest in Evelyn, I believe.
Oh, there's some nice shiny Hanzo Steel back in Castle Ebonheart's going to be a little bit happier with that. And decides that's enough. And it looks like Soap's going all the way back down, so we're going back for round 2.
Yeah, with the levels and the Avenger, this will be a little bit more easier to deal with.
You got a little bit of extra HP, a little bit extra levels to kind of go along with it. Still, Z has to be a little more cooperative. The rolls have to be a little nicer too, but this is definitely a little more comfortable than the first try.
As Soapbox start his attempt number 2 on this Zeronos fight, we have a second place finisher, Gino Bean, with a race bot time of 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 55 seconds. So give out your GGs for Gino Bean.
Fantastic job so far by our runners here, as we are still waiting to see our first finisher here on stream. And with the way that the seed shakes out, it's no surprise that we've had some finisher. We had E-Ninja with a sub-hour. It makes sense given the way that the bosses were doled out here. We had some unbelievably generous early game here with 2 very early bosses, some amazing equipment, and then a Chain and Baron, both the Baigen and the Keinatsu spot coming in handy. So definitely a case of this is going to be a very jetty seed. It's just a matter of how do you prepare for it. And as we've seen with, Ninja's early finish, worked out very well. And as we're seeing on stream here, it's not always easy when you get a jet seed like this, because depending on how things shake out for you in terms of your characters, if you find Sirens in a good spot, S-Pro definitely did not help out for the grind.
Yeah, S-Pro is one of those flags that you see it rarely, but it's one of those flags that you have to think a little bit outside the box of, okay, how I'm going to get experience out of this with no guaranteed Sirens in shops.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna door grind at this point or anything. I mean, we didn't even see the Luca key in this seed at this point. We really very likely won't now. Your only option would have been to possibly steal some Sirens. That's about all you had, and I'm surprised that Heart hasn't. But I mean, the pressure of how quickly the seed went on, it's very easy to forget. I mean, the amount of times that we've all made really, really silly mistakes and forgetting things. I mean, like, how many times have I missed things like Antlion or Baronin that was so easily checkable, but you're just too busy thinking about all the other things and prepping for a Z fight. It's so easy to get lost in that shuffle.
Yeah, once you're in Goma, your brain switch over to, okay, how I'm going to do with Ramas, and basically you throw everything what you know your upcoming plans out the window. It's like scrambling around what to do next, and it may take a while to get back in the groove. Like, oh, I can just do this to handle with this Serranos fight.
Yeah, you kind of take your little strategy book, and then you just kind of throw it in the trash at that point, because you're going, I need to get to Z as quickly as possible. I don't care how, I just need to get there. And with Soap continuing to try to get to the finish of this, as the nukes are still swinging, the big bangs are still preparing to hit. That Fu is going to need some HP back soon. That was a very nasty decision there by Z to, of course, go after the one person who needs to have HP. And even with the nerf, that is probably going to take that Fu down. Yep, there he goes.
Yep. Yeah, low 200 too low to take that.
Like I said, Z's got to be cooperative, and even when things are rolling, all it takes is Z just to kind of do one little thing that's a little not what you're hoping for, and all of a sudden things are now a little bit panicky here.
Luckily, that edge wasn't berserk up, so he was able to life up that Fu to able to stabilize this fight, while both Kane and Cecil are just back there, just swinging their hearts content.
Yeah, you get that Cure 4 out. Things are sort of back on track. I mean, a bad nuke might end up messing up that Fu again, but, that's one more heal away from solving that problem. Opting though to berserk the edge though, so just going all in on this one now.
Looks like Sep was trying to nerf this upcoming Big Bang.
And you're also hoping that he doesn't go for that nuke again right on that Fu, because if you get another high roll, you're not in a great spot. And that's not too bad. You can live with that one as long as you get that Cure 4 out quickly enough. Because the roll still could be in the favor of taking that Cecil down. But no, that Cure 4 is going to come out. So we are in a much better position now. Assuming the nerf is going in, you're in a much better position as you try to get the rest of this HP down and get into Rock's phase.
Yeah, it feels like we're past the HP tip, so we don't. Yeah, Soapbox made it past the HP whiffle, so he has to do another nerf upcoming soon.
Yeah, we're just now in the point of survive and make it to Rocks. Whereas Heart is now in the process of getting their fight started as well. So there's another attempt of the nerf. Goes after the Kane. That's probably the best option at this point. That's your weakest link. Even with Kane going down, that's not terrible.
Yeah, now you have two Zorkers and Fu as your white mage, so this shouldn't be a problem. The big problem is the big ring comes out. You hope you don't see that meat rocks coming up soon before Fu comes up and casts the Cure Force to the whole party.
Yeah, and with it only being 3 party members now, that Cure 4 is going to do a little bit more healing too, so it's going to be a nice cocoon here to make sure that everybody's back at full health.
Over Heart's side, that big man is nerfed, but not enough nerf to let Edge survive. So looks like have to revive that Edge again to Zerk up and have Edge keep swinging.
Yeah, there's the rocks on Soap's side. We are looking like we're just about going to the end here.
Yep, and this is just basically two Zerkers are Zerked up, controller down, put that done, ready, and
you're just waiting with bated breath to finally hit enter, and there it is.
There's snap, crackle, and boom. There goes the Romas. So, Fox Gamer, first restreamer, first finisher on the restream, finished third place in the race with a time of 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 16 seconds. GG for Soapbox.
Absolutely. That was one heck of a seed that we've seen. As we see Heart hopefully finishing out as well, if Z decides to cooperate. But yeah, this was a very fun seed to watch. Not in terms of, watching absolute suffering. This was a seed of, oh wow, this is generous. Oh my, are we just going to keep getting just thrown like gem after gem? You see the Crystal Sword come out, and then when you think that everything is going in one direction, all of a sudden there's Baron Guards sitting in the Dwarf Castle and a warp glitch giving you a pass. Jeez, this seed had everything for a good race. And speaking of a good race, we got our winner here on stream, Soapbox Gamer, in the 3rd place finish overall. GG's to you. How was it feeling with a Darkness Crystal at the start that never ended up being to be used at all except for a little bit of travel?
Scared the living daylights out of me. Oh man. I learned it the hard way the last time where nothing was on the blue planet and half of them were on the moon. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, let me commit to anything that was quick instead. And again, it started taking me around the blue planet, but this time it paid off.
Look, it's only fair if it goes in one direction in one race, it has to go the complete opposite the other,
Yeah, it was nonetheless surprising where it's one of those days where now everything you picked was correct, and even then it still was only good enough for 3rd because it's like it was complete jet once you figured out where everything was. Whew.
So when you got the Magma Key, you went straight to underground to Feymarch. Was the purpose of going underground first just to do recon information on who's at Feymarch, or you're just getting that Feymarch freebie into the sub shield one?
It was basically recon / get as many key items quickly. The second I got underground after I got the Darkness Crystal, I'm thinking to myself, what can I do quickly, especially carrying a food, so I can pick up a couple things and get a couple spells I can use. So it went through, there was nothing there. I knew Paladin was there, which I figured was probably going to loop back to. So I picked up everything else. Luckily it was the pan, it gave me everything else, and I decided to do anything that was close. Once I turned in the pan, I'm like, Ordeals is right here, that's 3 more. Tower Zot's right there, that's another 2 more. That pretty much put me right in the Baron Key, and away we went.
And the theme of the seed not only was that it was a jet, but the absolute early game in terms of items. I mean, the amount of ninja shirts and ribbons and heroine robes and even like Crystal Sword, you had everything being given to you just one after another. Granted, it still needed a little bit of time to get the levels that you needed for Z fight. You still were looking for, half decent armor, which was not really found too much apart from like a power shirt and a couple of black belts. But I mean, equipment wise, it was very generous in the early going.
I mean, the one time I could have used a Rosa, I didn't have it. I had 3 robes. I think I had like 5 poison axes. I was at least able to get like quick money for those, and then the second I went into Evelyn and found the crystal sword, I immediately bailed. I was like, that's the last thing I needed. Let's go.
So while you're doing this, doing Baron, you found your fifth, technically your fifth boss for the, your fourth boss, soon to be fifth, to be in go mode. What was in your mind at the time right there, trying to figure out how to prepare for Zeromus?
My initial approach was, and you saw me kind of get a little premature because I had some jitters because I'm in go mode but under like 1 hour. So it's either I have a chance to win or it's going to be close. And I immediately thought to myself was, all right, I'm going to take Ribbon Altar. I mean, it would have been nice if it was something other than, Doctor runs his mouth. But other than that, I was thinking 1 or 2 altars, go down there. But it turns out it wasn't enough. So I had to take 3 of them, which, I wish I'd thought about that before I went down there, but I got a little ahead of myself. And the second Edge took a nuke to the face and went down, I just immediately reset. I knew I wasn't ready. So I went and grabbed the other 2 altars, and at that point, Cess was over 2,200. I'm just like, you know what? I could probably get it through with this, and with some effort, we got there.
Yeah, it's definitely a case of when you know that no one's finished yet and you have go mode, the temptation is always there, and it's something that you really have to gauge and get a better sense of in terms of, is this something that I can handle, or am I basically going to be crossing my fingers and hoping Z is like the saint and just the most cooperative I've ever had before? In this case, obviously, nuking that Edge right away, well, okay, that's clearly not going to happen here.
No.
So what was the point then that you thought, okay, I'm going to keep grinding until either, I get like a certain amount of levels, or if a certain equipment comes in? Was your thinking just getting like at least somebody over around 2,000 just to have a little bit of a safety net in case of an unnerved BB?
That was pretty much it. I wanted somebody over 2,000 because I knew if I had to leave the LST at that point, I'm going to finish 5 spots later. And then I figured, let's press my luck here. So I took the bottom 2 in Crystal Altar. At that point, Cess was like 2,200. Edge was almost 2,000. I got a little short, but I'm thinking to myself, all right, Kane's over 2,100. We can probably work it out. And then I went down there and we just we finagled through. It was a little rough. A couple of those nerfs kind of scared me, but we got through it.
So, probably final question. What is your overall thoughts with the flag set itself, the whole concept with S Pro, or with this enemy unknown wacky flag?
Honestly, I've never used this wacky flag until this week, and frankly, it's a lot of fun. Because it's fun actually trying to guess what everything is, and certain ones you can know just by targeting all, but there's only a couple you can really figure out, and then it gets you used to just reacting in the moment because you don't know what this boss is. We're so used to just going in and face checking. It's like, oh, I see it. No, I don't need it. But now it's, oh, I gotta wait and see what this is, and then it's okay. Do I really want to take it?
Yeah, that sounds like the mindset of one of the other community clubs, the high and seek world championships, which is just pure boss fights and no Ramos fights. So your thoughts right there is basically how you approach the whole wacky flag of enemy unknown.
Yeah. And honestly, Golbez and I have had issues this week considering where he likes to hide. So, kudos to the hide and seek group that they're running these flags consistently, because I can't imagine how much, it's a lot of fun, but I can't imagine how difficult it gets at times.
Well, you'd be happy to know that because you didn't take a part in any sort of vanilla shenanigans, that you didn't have to worry about that Golbez, because that's exactly where Golbez was hiding, right in that vanilla spot. But yeah, like Enemy Unknown is one of those flag sets that I think it's definitely an interesting way of looking at it. It's something that I don't think you could do all the time, but it's a nice thing to have as something to kind of throw in your back pocket, because it is a very interesting wacky flag in terms of helping you identify enemies right away and also helping your reaction time, because you don't know what you're walking into. So if something goes a little bit off script, you're able to at least learn how to react to that and be able to get yourself back in the thick of things, which honestly for Z fights is even a great skill, just to be able to react to anything you're not expecting right away.
So many things where you can sit there and you can train and know exactly how you're going to approach a fight, but when you actually enter the fight, it never happens the same way. I mean, I don't know how many times I set everything up and I'm like, okay, I don't need you to get hit, and that's exactly the person that gets hit. It just teaches you to think on the fly, and frankly, it's something everybody should have, and it's kind of nice to actually be able to flex that muscle a little bit and try to get it in, get it in gear.
Absolutely. Well, unless Whirling, do you have any more questions?
No, I have no questions for you for tonight.
So then I will always do what I do on this, is give you the chance to give you the floor there. Do you have any last memes or comments before we let you go after you've finished third here and first on stream for us tonight?
Just one. Don't walk into Z with less than 1,700 unless you know Fu and friends. Which, spoiler, I don't yet, but hopefully soon. But I really appreciate you guys, and obviously I always appreciate being on Restream and coming on and answering questions. And you guys do a great job as always, just putting this together.
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you so much for giving us the entertaining race that we got tonight. And you enjoy the rest of your night, and obviously enjoy the holidays as we get closer and closer to the Christmas season here, as we are just about there.
You too. Happy holidays, guys. GG's, Puffs. Great job tonight.
So with that was Soapbox Gamer, our third place finisher. We do have another finish in Vitafro, finishing in fourth with a time of 1:27.14. As we continue on here with Hart and Z continuing to not be the most cooperative.
Yeah, this is attempt number 3 for Hart, and during our interview with Soapbox, Hart made it to rocks, but only Sussel with only one Fu and one Sussel still alive. Fu dodged the meteor, Sussel don't, and wasn't able to recover quick enough to survive the next meteor. So it was close, but luck was on Hart's side.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where when you have a party like this that is just hovering around the high thousands, when you only one person above 2,000 that's barely above 2,000, these fights are always going to be tough. Even the best of veterans here, if Z is uncooperative and doesn't do things the way that you're hoping them to, if all it takes is one unnerfed Big Bang or one nuke to go in the wrong spot, and everything can go completely haywire, and that's what we've been seeing here. And that's just how Z fights are. It's why, me, with a lot of races that I still do, I'll try to be a little more over level, just because you want to have that cushion sometimes. You can go into a race or into a Z fight with a much shorter HP and shorter level party, but you take the risk that things can go a little bit haywire a lot easier, whereas it goes the opposite way. Sometimes you overgrind and it takes a little bit too long and you end up falling behind that way. It really is a fine line. It's a tightrope you got to walk sometimes.
Yeah, and also a little bit luck of making sure you have enough HP and attacks going off that you don't get the really dreaded Big Bang into rocks and unable to get your party healed up beforehand. So that's one of those things that's really hard to. Once you see it, it's like one of those things of, I hope I can recover this. If so, we're home free. If not, do you risk try to recover now or take a reset and try again?
Yeah, so much of these fights, when you're working with lower levels or lower HP amounts, it's so much about timing. So much of it is luck too with the rolls. You never know what you're going to run into. And that is not going to help either. That is, you still got people alive there. Also, Cecil with 5 HP. Woo. Still going to pass out here just from the HP running out. But there is Rox. Oh no.
Oh. That is just heartbreaking to see that Big Man into rocks. Oh.
And with that, Hart is also going to take the forfeit after that, which honestly, after that many tries, I don't blame him. That is just a frustrating Z fight. And you can only bash your head against the table so many times before you go, you know what? That's enough.
Yeah, at this point, you already know about how the seeds played off. Now it's just basically to deal with that Zeromas. It's just a little bit more of levels to get through that. So no shame of taking the forfeit right there. It's one of those things of it. You're just starting hitting the same wall over and over again until something comes out. Definitely.
Absolutely. And I mean, you've tried enough times that like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go do another grind for like 10 minutes to get the levels that you need. It's just at that point, there's no shame in it. And also with that, at the same time too, we did have our fifth place finisher, Darth Plague, finishing at 131.07. So GG's to Darth as well. And that is everybody with our 6 runners now done. So that is everything for us. So to recap this race, absolute chaos early on. Early bosses, early really nice chests, and then a real interesting finish there as we were looking to set to have stereo Z fights and just Z deciding, I'm not going to cooperate, forget about it. We're going to make this as difficult as possible. But Warlink, what do you think about the seed that we got to see tonight here?
It's one of those scenes that it just played off the way that I like to see it. Like even though the diversion of we know where Goma is, find the final boss spot at a different spot that the runners went through. It's one of those things that you're happy to see that the races could be close.
Absolutely. Either way, despite the frustration that we saw here at the end of the Z fight, this is a very fun seed to watch. And again, I have a very soft spot for Enemy Unknown. I love this wacky flag. It is a nice thing to kind of sprinkle in once in a blue moon.
Yeah, I'd like to advertise a little bit. If you like this wacky flag and you want to see, if you want to play more of this, you can hop over to the Hide and Seek Championship Club, World Championship Club. That is basically the Enemy Unknown flag. You hunt 4 bosses out of 5 with no Zoronas fight. It's one of those. It's a club that's just basically trying to teach you how to do the whole boss fight without even seeing the boss itself.
Yeah, so with that, unless you got any more comments, I think we're done for the night. So if we're all good, where are we getting sent to as we cap off this night?
Yeah, we're going to send this stream over to John Brickhead, another fellow person in the Free Enterprise community, and it looks like he's doing a sumo seed, wherever that's called. And as a reminder, for tomorrow is our community race over at Free Enterprise 2, which is the Robust Stole Christmas flag set that we had the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, be sure to check that out. 10 p.m. Eastern on Free Enterprise 2. Last, I believe, of that flag set for the community races. Looking forward to see that. But yeah, on behalf of everybody here in the Restream team tonight, myself, Warlink, Neobari, and Engidave, we all wish you a good rest of your night. And if we don't see you the rest of the week, enjoy the holiday season.
Take care.
Beautiful.